the prepper's fireside we stay, ready for that fateful day. Stories shared and hearts alight, around the fire every night. Oh, 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 oh.
Hello everyone, welcome to the Preppers Fireside, and we're back on a Sunday with our Preppers Fireside cups. You know, I hope you've all got them. If you're not, well, shocking. Brian's drinking his crap, so
Drinking crap, listening to crap, it's all crap.
Only when you're talking, buddy. Only when you're talking. Right, Brian, welcome. I'll be nice now.
Hello, Mike.
Hello. Hawkins, the mystery that is the man who owes about £6,000 per child to CSA, so won't show his face. How are you doing?
Apparently he's not doing very well.
Hello, Hawkins.
There you go. Yeah, I can hear you now. Sorry, I disconnected from a VPN just to make sure it run smoothly, and took a few seconds to come back. Good evening.
He's disconnected from his VPN. Find him. And John joining us again, the Welsh prepper. How you doing, John?
Good, thank you. How are you, Mike?
Not so bad. Representing country today as well, I see. There you go.
Ah.
At least you didn't lose a cup.
Yeah, there you go. And of course, everyone in the chat, great to see you here. Lots of blue names. We've got Miss Worm and Evil Girl in there, keeping you all updated with links and keeping you in check from doing naughty things. Rifts in there as well, our actual security. And lots of green names, which I love to see, all them members, which is awesome. So today we are talking about beyond the basics, right? It's time to start doing this with the money, because we've suddenly realized we love this hobby of prepping and we just want to buy random stupid shit that we'll never have to use, which is pretty much it, right, Brian?
Who would do that sort of shit? I mean, the very idea.
This is the perfect fireside for me.
Before we go into that, we need to talk about what the basics are. If we've got the basics out the way, we talk about a core of prepping: water, food, medical warmth, shelter. I mean, even the bottom three there is technically not the starting core. It's the top two. It's food and water. Is it what's the basics? What point, Brian, do you start to step into the gimmicky stuff? What would you have in place first?
Well, there's need versus nice to have. So need would be food, water, shelter, like you quite rightly pointed out. And if you can afford a week, then 2 weeks, then a month, up to about 3 months, then you've got to then consider what your risk profile is. Where do you see the greatest threats? Do you think we're going to be sitting in the dark? Then you might want a power bank. As time goes on, after you've got a power bank and some solar panels, you might want to get a generator for the winter months. So depending on what you see the threats are, depends what the Gucci kit would be at the end of it. If you live in a city centre and you've got the need, then the nice to have might be a stab vest. I mean, it just depends on your threats.
Yeah, definitely. Hawkins, at what level do you stop buying food and water, or is that a constant?
With my personal experience, it's a constant. So even when I keep saying I'll get to a point where I'm like, yeah, that's enough now. I don't need any more. Da. Then you're like, I'll just get this and I'll just get that. And then you're like, oh, well, actually, I've got, 9 months of this stacked up in Mylar and 9 months that stacked up in Mylar. So then you start switching to freeze dried, don't you? And buying your protein freeze dried, because that's the hardest thing to store is protein. So if you get it freeze dried stuff, then you start buying it. But that's the expensive bit. So
it's the expensive bit.
Yeah. So you're buying it bit by bit and stashing it under the bed, so to speak.
Yeah. What's your plan with that, Hawkins? Have you gone for like imports from America? Are you going down the ReadyWise route, or are you going to invest in a freeze dryer?
No, I'm not investing in a freeze dryer. I went down the same route as Brian and started buying the Gucci freeze dried stuff. It's been on Canadian Prep before, and your friend of the channel, what's her name in America? the girl in
Oh.
the
Mountain House.
Crystal.
Yeah, no, it's not Mountain House. She buys the same stuff. She's got on her racking in the back.
Yeah,
of
the
her
ones with the
videos.
blue packet.
Yeah, with the clear window in them.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I've
That's
just
good
been buying
shit.
them as and when. So, yeah, I'll keep going on that. But I'm comfortable where I am. So it's just, I'd say it's when I've got spare money. I never have spare money, but it's when I feel like allocating money towards it. Shall I say?
Brian's about to show us his sausage.
Yep. If it's the same ones as mine, it's like a really sort of dried up
Shriveled.
sausage as well. Yeah, shriveled. Yeah.
Shriveled.
Show us your
that's the
sausage,
word.
Brian. Show us your sausage.
Well, when I said it was dried up and shriveled, it could have been one of two things there.
There we are.
That's the
What's it
stuff.
called?
That's the one, mate.
Yeah.
That's the one. So freeze-dried wholesalers for the States. I've done a video on them, and it's pretty good stuff, and they do offers all the time.
Oh, they actually
again-
do full-size steaks. You can buy
I
like
bought
a
2
ribeye.
steaks.
You
Yeah.
bought 2 steaks.
That's the only product I got from them. I bought 2 steaks for my last day on Earth. I'll just
Well, imagine it.
get
Yeah,
the steaks.
18 months into the apocalypse, everybody else is eating utter crap, and like your last day, you're like, right, ribeye tonight, lads, or wagyu steak.
I'm gonna go out. This is the last meal. John, are you at the point yet? Because you've said yourself you're relatively new when it comes to prepping terms. Are you at the point yet where you're starting looking into the Gucci kit and stuff like that? Are you done with food, or have you still got a long way to go on that?
Yeah, no, I've sort of done it the other way around. I was in the military for 20 years, and then I lived on I ran a croft on Skye for 7 years. So all the things, the skills that people would normally move on to after they've got all their food together, I sort of acquired beforehand, and then got into sort of food storage and water storage. For me, it's what I'd call a force multiplier. It'd be those things that just give you a better chance. For example, I've got some, and they're not particularly expensive. I got some of those sort of infrared see in the dark goggles that are supposed to be for watching wildlife. They're not that expensive, but it helps me to see when the lights are out. It helps me to see if there's a threat coming. So for me, force multipliers, things like that.
Yeah, excellent. So I mean, I think it does boil down to, like we said, having X amount of food and water, and you can set that benchmark yourself. It doesn't have to be you must have a year's supply, because that's what you saw some American homesteader do. They've got the space for that. You might think 30 days is enough before you're going to get out there. You might look at what Brian said about 90% in 90. So you might want that 90 days worth of food, and then by the time you've run out, there's only 10% of the population to contend with when you go out hunting or looking or scavenging. So you set your own benchmark for that. But once you've done that, that's level 1 complete. Check that off, right? So we're talking, aptly named by Polonium, who is in the chat there, who suggested this tonight, level 2 of prepping, which we talk about what you're prepping for, right? So in very basic terms, what and why are you actually prepping for after food and water, Brian?
Grid collapse.
Okay.
The reasons for it could be a lot. It could be a cyber attack. It could be lack of maintenance. It could be overloaded. It could be inclement weather. That won't really matter to us on the ground. The fact is, it could be a short duration power outage, something to get you through to the next day to keep the freezer on, or it could be something a bit more sinister and it doesn't come back on. So with that regard, I started out prepping for short duration power cuts, and then I started to try and prepare for power never coming back.
Yeah.
And that's when it starts to get expensive. But that needs qualified, because that then jumps into the need versus want, like the whole situation in this discussion. Now, you only need light. You might only need your freezer, but you might want full house backup, and you might want it right through the winter months. So the price point for that is here. The price point for that could be way up here. So again, power, you can start off here very, very cheaply, and then the sky's the limit.
Yeah. Excellent. And Hawkins, same question. Now that you've passed level 1, check the box. What are you actually preparing for now? What are you expecting to happen, and why?
very similar to the version of me who just spoke, but 30 years older, aka Brian. Probably some sort of national infrastructure collapse.
He's saying that, Brian, but we've never seen his face, so he could be 90 for all we know.
National infrastructure collapse due to, as you said, weather, cyber attacks, a massive, lovely solar storm. If I get my wish, just don't shake your head. You know you want it to. So, yeah. At the end of the day, you're prepping to make life easy for yourself and for looking after your family. So, and the thing that makes that easy is power, electrons flowing into your house, isn't it? So, if that stops, it's just having everything in place. And there's tons of different things you can do from small scale to large scale to make that.
So, I mean, for people that
easier.
don't know, Hawkins, for a solar storm, surely that's that's never going to happen. That's, sci-fi talk, right?
No. Come on, within 48 months, please. No, it's certainly plausible, mate. We all know Carrington event, 1859, whatever it was. It could happen. It could happen tomorrow. So we are overdue one. I'm saying that with inverted commas that you can't see with my little buddy fingers. But,
just doing that in his own to himself.
Yeah, and I don't care what anyone says. The pole shift that's going on at the moment has definitely weakened our defense for that. Hence why you now see aurora in Florida that you could only ever see at the north end of Alaska. So we can just hope that big one comes soon, and hope that a big one comes soon, and we don't have to go to work anymore.
There's a disclaimer on the bottom, and at the end of it says the opinions expressed are those of their own. The rest of us hope nothing happens. John, what's same sort of question? What is it you're prepping for? What direction do you think you'll go in? Like power, defense, etc., and why?
Yeah, so similar to the last two, my main aim is being relatively comfortable in a grid down situation, however that is caused. I think it was 2021, maybe 22. The government issues a report in sort of November every year to say what margin we've got for the winter ahead. And it was so, Brian, I think you talked about this in the past. It was so close to us not being able to, the UK not having enough power. They kept 3 coal-fired power stations running just in case, and we scraped through. And I get to see those reports because I work for the government. So we are not far from having a collapse, especially if there's no wind and no sun and all the other renewable stuff doesn't work on a particular day.
See, in 2024, John,
yeah,
the report you're talking about, they submitted that in 2024 at the end of the year and said everything's going to be sunshine and lollipops with power starting from January, and we'll actually have a surplus and we can export some. That's when things went horribly wrong in the 8th of January in 2025, and we were a gnat's pubic hair from having the lights going down.
Yeah, absolutely. So for me, it's I want to be able to survive a sort of 10 to 15 day blackout, maybe a 1 month blackout, and all the consequences of that, because the emergency services aren't going to be coming. So luckily I've got some.
Do you honestly believe if it's off for a month, they will get it back on after that?
I'm not sure. I would hope they would, but I think I'm pretty well prepared for that scenario now. I've got about 8 months, 10 months worth of food using your marvelous spreadsheet, Mike. Not as much as I thought, so I've got to top that up a bit.
Yeah,
and also
you had 14 months before he filled the spreadsheet.
But also, my particular tactic is to go for sort of 12-volt power. So I'm not looking. I know Brian's got a nuclear reactor under his house, so he's got energy for his whole village.
It's a very idea.
I'm going for sort of low power, cheap stuff. I bought some of those. I've got loads of cheap lights that I haven't even opened. They're just in the box. So I'll just keep those for when the ones I use break, because my weakness is electronics. I can't fix anything. So once something breaks, I've got to chuck it. but that may be something for me to look at in the future. And the other thing I'm looking at is some sort of financial buffer. The civil service is getting rid of 20% of the workforce over the next 3 years. So I'm now thinking, I need to be ready for that.
And if reform gets in, apparently they're going to make massive cuts on the civil service as well. That's part of their.
John, you could just start a
their
YouTube
agenda.
channel and then just live off that.
I could.
Yeah, all right.
Oh yes, that's good.
Good luck with that. You can
market is-
live like me
The
on
market's a bit
beans
saturated, Hawkins.
and freeway cola. That's what YouTube buys you. Freeway cola.
I dream
XX.
of being able to afford freeway cola. I'm on eau de coupe.
If I wanted to exceed my total YouTube earnings for all of last year, I'd be cheaper working half a shift on a Saturday. And that is no lie.
Well, there you go. Us poor YouTubers. So make sure you support us by at least liking and subscribing whichever stream you're watching on. 162 people. Appreciate
I'm playing
you
my
being here.
violin now, by the way.
Hawkins will release his faceless mesh-tastic channel soon. Right. So for me, I may as well say mine as well, because I'm slightly different. Obviously, all you guys are talking about blackouts and power. And yes, that concerns me. Yes, it's something I've prepared for. But as it stands now, my biggest threat in my eyes is civil unrest because of how close I am to a city centre that is pretty much the Antifa headquarters of the UK. So I've got that as a massive thing. So when Brian was joking about things like stab vests and stuff like that, I've bought
Oh, it was
the
deadly
metal
serious.
plates. Yeah, I've bought the metal plates. I've got everything like that. I've got bug out plans. We'll just move the Viking axe out of the background. Nothing to do with that. But yeah, so that's kind of the direction I've been going in. And as much as I'm an advocate of bugging in, and I've got all these books and I've got all this food, I might very well have to get out very, very quickly. So mine is planning for security, self-defense and home security. And then, of course, the bug out, which is a vehicle which I need to source still. But that's kind of the direction I'm going with that as well.
So a school bus then.
School. No, totally. I've still got
52-seater coach.
I've still got the picture from last week. There we go. There it is. That'll be.
It looks like an old man's Ghostbusters with a Volvo.
Volvo.
That is a Volvo XC90, which is quite cheap, so that's why I'm looking at it. And it's 7 seats. And that was a picture straight from Auto Trader that I threw onto Google Gemini and said, "Make this look like a prepper's car." And that's what they came up with. And I thought they did a pretty good job. I mean, I don't know why they had to change it to multi-spoke racing alloys. I'm not sure what that relates to as far as a prepper concerns.
Four
but the
spare
rest-
tires might be a bit over the top.
No, I don't think
Well,
so.
maybe take 2 and put something else in the space.
With Mike's
Okay.
luck, 4's not
Children.
enough.
8. Take 8.
Mine will, that rack will have 4 kids' seats on to the top, so they can sit on there with goggles. That's what's. But yeah, so the direction you're going, then, Brian, the Gucci gear. Let's tell us all about it. Go on. We know
I
you
don't
love
have
to.
Gucci gear.
Oh no, you just got a throne made of power banks, but you know.
It's taken me a long time to accumulate things,
Mhm.
but when the very first
okay,
pair,
hang on. Let's with you saying that, let's put a caveat on that. Starting off on that direction, away from food and water into power. Talk us through that rather than what you've actually got now. You know what I mean? That journey.
so I started off with one power bank, which was an EcoFlow Delta Max, well, Delta Pro, the old one, the 1600 watt one that's got 300 cycles on it. So 4 years ago, power banks were in their infancy and they were expensive and not many people had them. And then as time went on, year by year, the tech's improved, the cycles have improved, and the prices have come down. So that they're very much in the realms that most people, it's with, and I'll say most people because I know even a Delta 2 or comparable is still about 360, 400 quid. Yeah, that is a lot of money. But before people say, "Oh, I can't afford that," and it'd be nice to have it in case the lights go out. Ask themselves how many pints they had over the last 3 months, how many packets of fags they smoked, right? Or how many Chinese takeaways they phoned. Can I suggest you, in the difference of 3 or 4 months, you could afford that nice to have item, and it would give you power should something go wrong for a short duration, depending on your aspirations. So I added in 1 power bank. Next year I bought 2. The next year I bought another 4. And then we put in solar and batteries in the house. And then 2 years later we doubled the solar and the batteries in the house. And then we bought a generator and we'd put an air source heat pump in and stuff.
Does this not embed you too deeply in a single location, Brian? Does this not? Because I mean, bugging in is always first choice for everyone, but having that much solar, that much power, the stuff on the roofs and stuff like that, I'm not saying that somebody's going to come and take over, but if idiot number 6 down the road decides to have candles next to his curtains and that fire starts spreading across,
that is my biggest concern, that if the lights go out, other people's problems in prepping become your problems very, very quickly. Hence why I started a YouTube problem, because the more people that prep, the less likely they are to knock my door down and kill me in the middle of the night. So it's selfishly motivated as well. Now, whether it's sanitation, their drains block up, or they start a fire because they're candles and they're sitting pissed waiting and the candles going out, other people's problems either side in a terrace like I am could very quickly become my problem. So yeah, it's a trade-off between, I don't have anywhere better to go. Ideally, I'd like someplace, a small hold in the middle of the country. That's not within my budget, and my wife would never move anyway. So this is the best I can do. And if the lights did go down for a prolonged period of time, I'd be knocking everybody's door in the row to see if they needed any help, but also to make sure how you light your candles. Have you got it at least on a saucer or a candle holder? Because that could see me burnt out quicker than anything.
You're not too old to get a new wife, though, are you, Brian?
I'm not sure if she's watching this tonight.
I'm just setting you up to get shot later.
Now, she's not feeling well, actually, so she's in bed. But on the off chance that she is watching this, I would never do such a thing.
sorry, I just muted my mic because the entire police force just drove past my house. I was waiting to see if there's anything.
But no, that's why I decided on power, and that was the pathway I took to get it. And you don't have to go that far into it. You can do a lot less. You know, you can do a lot less and have lights. So John was saying about his lighting and everything else. You can get a 5-volt strip light of LEDs for about a tenner, 5 to 10 quid. Plug it into a little power bank that size. It'll illuminate your entire living room staircase for a day. No problem at all. And it's cost you 10, 15 quid. You don't have to have a generator running. Arguably, at night time, you shouldn't have a generator running. You should be doing buffer charging. So charge your power bank for an hour, run your electrics through the night when it's quiet.
Oh, look at that. Cheers, Kane. I can get about 18 of these with a £5. That's a bargain.
Can't even get a pint for that now. Nearly cried at the pub yesterday. £6 a pint.
Is that Hawkins trying to upsell the super chats? Can't even get a pipe for that. Come on. Shite git. No, I really appreciated you, Kane. Thank you. Hawkins, so you're prepping for a similar sort of thing, as you said, but be that not through natural causes, well, not earthly causes, but you've only recently got solar on the house. So what was the plan before that? How did you go in that direction?
I already had a bunch of panels in the back garden laid against the fence, so about just shy of a kilowatt. I had another kilowatt ready to kind of put out there. I already had a petrol Jenny, then I got a petrol and propane Jenny. So I already had a battery backup.
What did you start with though on that journey into that secondary level?
So I had a petrol Jenny first, but that was just out of job choices and things. I had a petrol Jenny from a previous job that followed me around the world. For some reason, I brought it back here. Then Then I went down just a battery backup system, so just lead acids in a big inverter and put in, I think at the time it was about 5 kilowatt hours of lead acids in. Then that got upgraded to about 10 kilowatt hours of lead acids. Then I bought myself a dual fuel inverter generator, so I could keep that charged. And I say I had the panels in the back. They'd kind of come in between that time, but it was mainly just to run my ham radio gear. And then I suppose I've moved into my forever house, shall we say, that I had no intention of ever leaving. And it's just, you may as well put panels on. And then it was only when I kind of ran the numbers after talking to Brian and realised that actually, even though I haven't got the money to afford it and I can get it on the finance deal, it was actually what I've saved in paying Octopus each month. It's only actually costing me 70 quid a month, and I can find 70 quid a month. So that's why I then went panels and everything on the house, because they'll pay for themselves. And I think it was 6-8 years or something like that. I worked it out. I can't remember now, but they'll pay for themselves and that, and then continue to pay for themselves. So, yeah, and I've probably not finished, to be honest. I probably will do my other 2 roofs at some point, but that'll be further down the line.
Excellent. John, what direction you've gone the low power route, you're saying, and stuff like that. So what's after you've got the food, after you've got the water, where are you going with that? I mean, are you sticking with that? Are you thinking of going further into the power? Is there something else you're going further into, like the medical or home defense, etc.? What direction are you taking level 2 of prepping?
I think just upgrading where I've got a very similar power journey to Hawkins. I hate that word journey. I can't believe I just said it. But I started with lead acid batteries and one 100-watt solar panel literally stuck on the side of the shed. I then upgraded. I've now got a F3 P210, which I'm delighted with. I bought another smaller power bank recently that was in a sale for 160 quid, which I'll put in a Faraday cage as my backup. 1 is done, is 2 is 1 sort of thing. And yeah, I'm now looking at the gaps, and my gaps are the skills side of things. I'm looking at electronics, as I say, simple electronics. I mean, I can wire a plug, I can set up a 12-volt lighting system, I can do all the, I can turn screws in power blocks, but I can't, I have no idea what a difference between a capacitor and a transistor is. So that's the sort of thing that's where I'm looking now, is my personal skills for long term, if there's a long term issue in the UK.
Okay, so you're going down the skills route. Are you taking are you looking at active courses for that, or is it self-teaching? Is it a library of kind of books? What's the pathway look like for that for you?
It will be sort of night classes, so I'll find a college. I'm as you know, I'm moving in a few months, so I'll find a local college and I'll look at taking night classes. I think someone mentioned in the chat they did a welding course. Great. Let me do one of those. I'd love to do one of those. Even a bricklaying course, anything to improve my skills. I got the first aid skills. I got the animal husbandry skills. I've got the growing food skills. So I'm now looking at the how can I upskill myself for something that is long term in the future, as in the long term outreach.
Yeah, just have a look at courses they do. Don't forget, a bricklaying course is usually 1 day of bricklaying and then 364 days of how to make a cup of tea excuses and overquote people. That's my experience with bricklayers, but yeah, it's definitely good, the skills route to go down. Brian, how does that spider out now? How does that octopus out? Because you've not just purely bought power banks, right? We've seen vests, we've seen other stuff, we've seen stuff that we won't talk about, but we've seen other stuff. You've got radios there, we've talked about mesh. How do you moderate that and know which direction to go? Because you could very quickly spiral. You watch one video, he'll tell you to buy all the gas masks in the world. The next video will tell you to buy this super radio,
Prepping's addictive. There's no 2 ways about it, and it can lead you down a path spending a lot of money that you might not even have. And I do get that, because as soon as I get money in the bank, I'm looking at shit to waste money on. It's not a waste of money in my mind, but then you look at need versus, nice to have. And I tend to try and get food up to a level. And then I decided, right, short-term tins, medium-term wrap packs, long-term dried food. Dried food being the expensive stuff, not counting Mylar bagging it, like I do anyway. And I tried to switch more from reduce my tins by 50% and add more into the dried food, which is an expensive course to travel, to be fair. And then when I think about it as well, you're going, well, realistically, I'm never going to open the dried food unless something goes horribly wrong. So you're more likely to use the tins. So it's trying to strike a happy balance between that. And then you look at trying to actually hold on to what you have gathered. And that would be security in your home, security in your outbuildings, whatever you've got, and whatever methods you deem required to do that. And there's a myriad of options with that, most of which we'll never talk about.
Yeah.
And then any gaps in skills. So whilst I've done lots of first aid courses, I'd like to take it to a higher level with more emphasis on bleed control and that kind of things, because there might be a case that it could be days, weeks, or never to get to hospital, and somebody's got the red stuff flying out them. I would like to know a bit more how to deal with that.
So I think that's something a lot of people take for granted. I myself have got like the survival medical handbook and stuff like that, and it's all great having stuff like that. And I've done first aid courses and what have you. What's that pathway look like for you, Brian, at the moment? What have you done already? What have you got in place, and what are you aiming for? Is it just I mean, most people's medical preps is just buying a cupboard full of stuff and there you go, I'm covered for medical kind of thing, you know.
It's like everything else. So John was saying about welding earlier on. Now, when I was an apprentice, part of your trade was doing welding. Once somebody shows you, ultimately it boils down to flying hours. But welding in medical, it's kind of the same because it's a perishable skill. If you don't keep doing it and if you don't practice it, you lose the skill. So everything's flying hours. Medically wise, I've done workplace first aid courses, and when I still climbed more with work, I did turbine rescue courses and stuff for that. But that is a gap that I'd like to try and cover. So stock wise, I've added lots of stock. You'll not see it here anyway. There's boxes and boxes of kit up there. And the sad thing is, if you've got somebody's pissing blood everywhere or whatever, you could probably contaminate one of your bags, open it, just with him scooting shit everywhere. And that's, your hands are covered, you've got it in the little molly loops, it's all nice and tidy. That's great when your hands aren't slick with blood or other stuff and you're trying to get it out and you're ripping over things, you'll have a high rate of wastage. So with medical kit, I've factored in a very high wastage element for a horrible situation, basically.
Right. So what's the cost? You want to briefly tell us?
The Trek 3 one. So the first responder emergency care 3 course, it covers a whole host of things: intubation, splinting, bleed control, tourniquet application, chest seals, that kind of stuff. So there's quite a lot, and it's a 5-day course. Prices vary from location, but the average is about 560 quid. And
it seems a lot to people. People might be gasp and take back by that, but what's it worth in the end of the day, right?
What price do you put on a life? I think it's probably the best way to put that. And if you save one person, then I would argue it's the best money you've ever spent, to be honest.
Yeah. So
that's my kind of attitude on it. It's money well spent, even if you never use it. Same as insurance, same as everything we do.
Yeah.
Okay, something just went wrong there.
Big shout out to Angela, who has sent £20 to my PayPal, and she said £10 for Brian and £10 for Mike. Sorry, John Hawkins, you're out of luck.
Nah, you're all good, mate. You have it, but thank you.
Thanks for everything you helped me with, and from Angela. Brian's no choice. I'll just turn up with a crate of Coke Zero for him without idiots.
That's cruel.
That's cruel. Let me just a couple of the comments before. Brian Keane put half a question in, and it seemed to have cut off. So I don't know if you can finish it, but you might be able to make sense of what he's trying to ask Brian. He said, question for Brian, local guy near me is selling generators, told me to stay away from small diesel generators. He's selling 12 kVA single phase Spanish made petrol for €2,200. Afraid
First
of petrol
thing-
being...
Do you really need a 12 kV generator for a start? Because that's more
A lot
for
of
like
power.
whole house. It's a lot of juice, and the bigger it is, the thirstier it is. So, and what is it you're looking to achieve? Because a generator burning all the time is noisy, and a lot of that will be wasted. So if you've got a couple of lights on in your house and you're doing whole house backup and the generator's running, albeit not at a lot of load, it'll still be burning a significant quantity of fuel. Whereas you would be better to have like a 2 kilowatt power bank or some battery stores that are not noisy. They're taking the minimum load of the lights on board. And then when that starts to discharge, you charge that up when there's more ambient noise during the day, bird sound, animals, and everything else. And you're only running the generator for about an hour, maybe 2 hours, depending on the size of the battery bank. So that's a big generator. And again, I would consider that for whole house backup, and it'll be very thirsty, and I wouldn't go down that route personally.
If it's a full power outage, Brian, right, petrol's going to be a shortage as well.
I would tend to go for gas if possible.
Or
So
dual.
propane, so dual fuel, rather than the diesel. You can put additives in diesel. Diesel will last you probably, people say, a year, 2 years. If it's good quality diesel, you keep the moisture out it, you put in some additives, 2 to 3 years anyway.
You're limited on storage, and getting it out the pump would be the issue, right?
If you've got that size of generator, you need a fuel bowser of some sort, a bunded tank, because it's going to take a lot of fuel. Now, personally, I would suggest maybe a 5 or a 6 kV generator, but with a buffer bank, so with a battery bank, whether it's batteries in the house or even a couple of power banks, and you run them at night time, and you keep the ambient noise down at night time altogether.
Yeah.
Personal suggestion. And go with gas. Go for dual fuel. Use your petrol stores up first before it goes off. And this is for an extreme situation. And then run your propane, because other than the O-ring on the bottle maybe perishing, right, and you keep some in a bag, but it's functionally, it's going to last forever.
Yeah. Cool. Thank you for that. Other bucket says log burner or diesel heater for next level heating prep. I know I'd prefer a log burner, purely because I can cook on it and everything else like that, and there's so much more I can do with it. And I know that's not practical for a lot of people. I mean, installing a log burner inside the home, it's quite a renovation to do, and some people just don't have the wall that they can do that on. Brian, you've just gone down the diesel heater route, right?
I have. Well, so I've got a chimney. It's not been used since we've been in the house. So it's not been used for 20 odd years. So to open that up and reinstate the chimney with a log burner, liners and everything else is going to be a cash value that I don't particularly have this year the budget for. Hopefully next year. But the heat pump broke down twice last year. And whilst it's running fine now, the flip side to getting the house warm was to use not very economical electric heating.
Yeah.
And that's toxic for your power banks. That's no good for you whatsoever. Or your battery bank in the house. It's no good. You don't want to do that. So then I bought a Mr. Buddy heater, which I like. It's a good heater. And that was my intention, to use that for backup heating. And then I thought, well, the price of gas and everything else. So I've now moved that to a tertiary heating source, like the emergency heater. And I've fitted probably half a dozen diesel heaters in camper vans. So what I've done is I've drilled an 80mm hole through the side wall of the house and inserted an aluminium sleeve. And then I've bought a box for it. And on Tuesday, when it stops raining, hopefully, I'll mount that on the outside of the house. So all the combustion chambers outside, and it's only the ducted heat that's going in. So in the event of a power outage, I don't need to use the expensive or energy expensive air source heat pump. or any blown air heating, it's minimal power usage for the diesel heater, and it's a small quantity of diesel. So between that and the power banks, I'll have heating. Well,
and they're quite quiet as
permanently.
well, aren't they, Brian? The van heaters you can buy.
Yeah, I mean the noisiest thing's the pump. It's more the transmission as the noise shorts come through the side of the body. But the easiest way to get around that is honestly a cable tie or two, and just leave it hanging underneath the van, and you don't get the sound shorts coming through as bad.
If you had the choice of both, Brian, log burner or diesel
Log burner.
heater, log burner. Hawkins,
What was the question?
it's on the screen, buddy.
Oh, log burner diesel heater. Well, I have diesel heater already done as similar to Brian, with a spare up in the loft and spare fuel pumps and spare this and spare that and spare everything. Funny enough, I need to pull my diesel heater apart because the bearing's gone in it and it's making a right noise, so it's turned off at the moment. But I've been using it here for 4 years probably now. But I would like a log. Go on.
No, I was just going to say it's probably worth mentioning to people how cheap they are.
Yeah, they're cheap.
Between
£80.
80 quid and 100 quid. And by the time you buy the glow plug, the service kit, and the bearings and everything else, and you spend the time to strip it down and repair them, and they are very repairable. Just stick an R1 in. It's just, they're disposable.
I mean, that's technically a prep in itself. If you buy another one now, then you've got a bag of spare parts, right?
Oh yeah.
That's what I did. I bought every spare I could think of for the diesel heater, and then went, which includes control boards and everything, and then I went, I may as well buy another whole diesel heater as well and just stick that in the loft. So I just vacuum sealed it in a big bag and stuck it in the loft. So, but I could do it because it is my house. There's no reason I couldn't put a log burner in, but I've just got nowhere to. I've got nowhere to put it.
Just done it. My dad's just done it, and it's actually a knock through from a flat wall, and then you build like it outwards. So he's got like almost looks like a shed, but built out of brick coming out the back of his house, with then a huge chimney that comes off there, like a proper metal flue one. Inside, it looks like a sunken fire. It's beautiful, but outside, it's quite practical to do.
The issue for me is I've got a newish build house, which is very well insulated. It retains heat very well. And I know that even the big back room, which is like the diner, kitchen, live area, whatever you want to fucking call it, is still a big room. But if I put a log burner in there, if you go in that room, you just be sat there in your swimming trunks because it'll just be boiling. So it'll be. I don't think it's a sensible option for this house, if that makes sense. If I lived in an old cottage before this, like a 400-year-old cottage that just reeked of damp, and like your mail came through the letterbox. And if it was on the floor for like 4 hours before you got home, you picked it up and it was wringing wet. Like that
was like my cottage in Wales. That was exactly like my cottage in Wales.
My monitors and TVs stopped working because the humidity was so high in the house. Until I put three dehumidifiers in there, they wouldn't work. They all went manky. So that sort of house would be ideal for a log burner, but the one I'm in now, it just doesn't make sense. So diesel heater, and it's easy to keep diesel. There's no limits, restrictions on what you can have diesel wise. So I've got 120 litres and cans set outside. It's not flammable. You can drop a match in diesel; it doesn't do anything. You've got to like atomize it to get it to ignite. So it's a safe fuel.
Mike can manage it.
Yeah, Mike could do it. Yeah.
I'll be round. John, you're moving soon, John, as you allude to. Has prepping come into that, or is log burners and diesel heaters something you've thought about?
No, the house I'm moving to, it does have 2 fireplaces, but they're plasterboarded over at the moment. The person we're buying it off has done a very good modernization job on the place, so they are there. If it came to it, I'd hack the plasterboard off and put a log burner in. I'm thinking I've got diesel heaters on my wish list, and I think I'd maybe set it up in my sort of my wooden insulated shed first, just to sort of build a bit of confidence that it's not going to kill me, and that it's sufficient. And then I'd maybe think of a solution if it came to it. But I think the idea of just buying 2 and having 1 vacuum sealed in the loft is a really good idea. You've got all the spare parts you need because you've got another one. Can I just say something about log burners, Mike?
Of course,
I had 3 when I was up on Skye. Fantastic. I used them during power cuts for cooking, heat and light. The issue with them, if the shit hits the fan, is processing the wood to put on your log burner. Even if you can buy a ton of logs these days, softwood logs, you're probably talking over 100 quid, and they just dump them on your drive, and you've got to move them all into your storage place, which takes a couple of hours, and then you've got to move them in every time you want some more logs. So it is time consuming. If you're having to do that after shit hits the fan, and literally harvest trees and dry them out and then chop them and into workable sizes and then turn them into logs, that's a lot of effort. So if someone has aspirations of having a log burner after the lights go out, that's just something to take into account. It will take a lot of time unless you have a substantial store of logs.
Yeah. And we all know preppers with log burners who can run out of wood, So no,
Please
no
give
name.
me some logs. I'm going to die of the cold. Can't.
Trees through the window in the background. I don't know where this magic wood from B&M Bargains comes from. Cheers for that, John. Grumpy Adventure said, last year was my biggest prepper spend that I've done. I would say I'm definitely on stage 2. House, power bank, solar, sporting goods, wink, wink, you know what I mean, comms and food. Of course, we know what you mean. Golf clubs, definitely. Always a great prep.
Olympic bungee cord jumping.
That's it. That's it. Parachuting like Josh. Right. So, what else is level 2 of prepping? What can we... I'm trying to stay away from certain topics and certain subjects, of course. I tell you what we will touch on, though, because many preppers do it, and many preppers look at it, and when we have people interviewing preppers, sometimes things are said that are taken out of context. So archery and crossbow and things like that is something people jump.
I know exactly what you mean. So would you mean perchance when you do an interview for the Cornwall meet and you say, I like to buy a crossbow just so I can slot him that it walks in the door, that sort of shit? Yeah,
it's not the,
please don't ever say that to anybody.
It's not the
Who would
impression you
say
want
that?
to give Joe Public, but I mean the point is, right, let's, joking aside, don't forget, disclaimer, everything we talk about is theoretical, everything is just opinions, nothing is matter of fact. They do look at that, right? I mean, at the end of the day, preppers do look at that. New preppers will buy 10 tins of beans, think they're sorted there, so then go and buy a 15 quid crossbow and think they're going to take on the world.
And no bolts.
It comes with 10 free. That's all I need, right? You're just going to recover them out of all the bodies. John scratching his head with a very interesting pencil there.
It's a pen. It's a pen.
It's a pen.
It's a pen.
But yeah, that's not level 2 of prepping for me. It feels like people
It's level 1.
jump on the bandwagon and they don't have realistic thinking of how that will go. How will that go, Brian, when you've got a cupboard full of food and a pistol crossbow with a 50-pound draw weight?
That'll go very badly because you've probably never fired it. And I mean, we're talking about a hypothetical scenario because people are, for most people in these chats that watch these videos, God forbid none of this will ever happen, that there's even a need to think about something like that. And yet we'll all think about it because we'll watch the TV, right? The worst thing we'll probably encounter in our lifetime is a power outage with bad weather for a couple of weeks. That's bad enough. That's potentially fatal. However, given that we are preppers, we've got to consider that we're in an unstable world and that anything that you do prep for could be taken away from you. And if you've got kids and a wife and everything else that goes with it, then at some point you're going to consider, what if somebody comes to take it off me, right? And you will decide in your own mind how best you're going to do that, should that ever happen. But you've also got to bear in mind that we are in a country with a rule of law, that should you take active measures whilst that rule of law is still ongoing, then you can't help your family if you're in jail. And also, it brings everybody into disrepute if you do stupid shit with crossbows, archery, or anything else when
Even
there's no need.
even catapults and stuff like
Yeah.
that. It might seem like a bit of fun from a kid. I've got a catapult. I tested it in the garden. That could do some damage if you're irresponsible with it, right?
Exactly. And I mean, you'll probably never need it, but should you have one or decide that you want to take up a hobby, then take up the hobby, right? If you want to buy a crossbow for SHTF and the unlikely event you'll ever have to use it, then can I suggest the time to learn how to use it isn't when that event happens. You should have joined an archery club, and you should enjoy the pastime of shooting a crossbow or a bow. Enjoy the pastime. Prepping is fun. It should be fun, and so's all the associated supportive pastimes that go with it. Go and do it.
Yeah, practice, definitely practice when it comes to anything. John, obviously we're all being very careful teetering around this subject, but you did show us an interesting pen there. Have I just described you? Have you got 50 tins of beans and one pistol crossbow? Is that you, Rambo, in it?
No,
Welsh Rambo riding a sheep into battle.
I can describe my I'll describe my military weapons training, because this is in the past and it's true. My military weapons training involved 1 week of five lessons a day, learning how to hold the weapon, how to strip it down, how to tune it, how to oil it, how to clean it, how to hold it,
how to not get a pull through stuck in the barrel of the SE80.
exactly,
shit for
how
that.
to not point it at someone else even when it's unloaded, all that sort of stuff. Stoppage drills, loading drills, discharge drills, making it safe. All I'm trying to say is, if that's the route you want to go down, you're absolutely right, Brian. You can't just buy it and stick it in the corner.
No.
Any weapon, whether it's a kinetic weapon or a stored energy weapon like a crossbow or a bow, it has to be tuned to get the aim. I fired a crossbow once that I just put together, and the thing shot off 45 degrees to the right because the bow wasn't quite centered.
Yeah,
so you got to be really careful. And also you got to practice it. I used to practice every 6 months with live ammunition, and when you deployed, you do another 2-day refresher course, and you practice again with live ammunition. So you can't just buy one and stick it in the corner and hope it'll be all right. And I'd just like to say as well, from the psychological point of view, if you were to use that weapon against someone and the worst happened, you got to live with that for the rest of your life. So I'd go down layered defense first. I'd go down avoiding conflict, de-escalation, everything you can before you 100%. Think of picking that thing up.
Yeah,
I sound like I'm lecturing, but it's from experience.
No, you're not.
Nobody wants to clean that mess up either. People bleed.
Something worth mentioning, not to be naive either. These videos, everyone you see in Discord or any online forum, somebody looks at. Somebody who might not have the same interests or hobbies or viewpoints as you, and everything can be taken out of context. So even a snippet of what we're talking could be taken as a snapshot and twisted and taken out of context. At no point is MD
I'll
on
prove
here.
It. I'll make a short video later and make Brian look like a crazy ass. How's that?
That's not a low bar, mate, to be honest.
I'm glad you picked Brian.
The first thing we always say in the Discord channel is don't be a dick, right? That applies to any hobbies that you take on. Clay pigeon shooting, practical shotgun, mini rifles, target shooting, archery. Whatever it is, don't be a chopper, because it could bring you down, your family down, see you out your home, see you arrested, and it could harm the prepper hobby.
Can I just say that John's little story of firing a crossbow is the perfect reason why don't play with these things in your back garden either. Because as soon as anything that you might decide is a fun toy to play with, which isn't a toy, as soon as that leaves your grounds, your garden, and goes over a fence line, you are
through a fence and through the neighbour's shed and potentially kill anybody that was in the shed. But that's just a random scenario. I think
But if you do,
who's ever happened to it?
Don't just play with it.
I beg your pardon.
And this is why Hawkins has his camera off. No, he's right. He's right. I mean, I've done it in the house, right? in with the pistol one, with a backboard, with stuff like that, and I thought I'd done enough precautions, and it went through the back of the kitchen cupboard and got stopped by a pan. All right.
Caught fire.
It didn't.
Left
Nothing
the house.
caught fire, exploded or melted. No, but it just goes to prove you can think. You know, you can have all the precautions in place. Just, I mean, if you're in an urban area like me, I've messed with the carport with a brick wall behind, which is 8 foot tall, so it's okay-ish there. But I wouldn't mess with a crossbar out there because one little nick, deflection, or you know, it goes off. Yeah, I could be in big trouble, kind of thing. So clubs, I don't know, quite a few archery clubs near me, and you've got to find the right ones to let you use the right things. But yeah, that's the way to go with it. So yeah, don't just jump on that bandwagon and go and get your thing yourself and think I'm gonna. The other part of that is who you're gonna take on with that is the question, right?
Once.
Yeah. And
Once.
people, I'll tell you another one is this is from Bob, who's a great guy. We've had him as a guest before and stuff like that. I did a podcast with him. A lot of people have a lot of people in the UK seem to play baseball. I never see them playing, but they seem to play baseball. A lot of people in the UK. There's a lot more cricket players than we believe, but they're all batters, you know, kind of thing. Now, have a slow motion swing around your hallway, house, and landing and stairs with a baseball bat, and see how much contact you make with walls, banisters, mum's vase, etc. Right?
Yep.
You've really got to put some thought into stuff like this. A, do you want to take on 4 or 5 guys trying to get into your front door? Is your family's life worth you thinking you're Rambo? Right? The reload time on a lot of things is not practical. Swinging a baseball bat round your front room is not practical. And unless you want to go Stabby McStabson on loads of people like at high speed, just get out.
That was was that racist? I think that's racist.
Is it? All right,
Everything's racist these days.
There's a red flag for me. But it's true. It's like, I mean, I was messing about with this axe. This is not anything to do with SHTF, right? I'm throwing that out there now. I'm doing some living history videos soon. Okay. So it's relevant to that kind of thing. So just think practically, you know, a rounder's bat is better than a baseball bat is one thing I would say. But if it's there and you have intent, you're in trouble. It's as simple as that, right? The law in this country is very, very restrictive. There's Englishman's castle is not defendable anymore.
I had to explain that. Sorry, John, on you go.
Sorry, even in SHTF, you point a weapon at someone, a ranged weapon at someone, all you're doing is you're buying yourself enough time to get out before he comes back with 20 of his mates. Because he's gonna that person's gonna have the attitude that you're not getting one over on me, and I'll do you, or whatever they say these days. I don't know, but you're just buying yourself a bit of time to leave your house.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
because they're coming back.
Yeah, and avoidance is the thing. You're not gonna take on 20 people, you know. And it was Lee from the Bug Out who said this to me when I had the interview with him. It's like, you think about it, if you start sitting there thinking about it logically, a conflict of any kind with 3 or 4 people, you're outnumbered, you're putting your family at risk. Because if they do get in and do get past you, guess what? Your family's now the vulnerable people that they're getting to. Have exits, have get out ideas, you know, things like that. Buy yourself time, security on doors and stuff like that. And
deadlocks.
Yeah, deadlocks, all sorts. Yeah.
You hit the nail on the head right at the start. Everybody watches too much TV in most states across the pond, and it's not going to be a zombie apocalypse. It's not going to be roving hordes of Mad Max stunt doubles that gets you.
Oh, I really want the zombie apocalypse. If Hawkins wants a real event, I want the zombie apocalypse. That's the only thing I'll wish for.
It's the old lady down the road, right? In your row or separated by the houses by fucking 2 meters or whatever it is these days, not a lot. It's fire that's going to get you. It's simple things like that. somebody falling asleep with a candle knocked over. It's not going to be hordes of rampaging people. It'll be fire. So your greatest threat is going to be other people's fuck-ups in SHTF before the hordes.
Mhm.
So the first thing to do is make sure there's a fire plan to go along with your security plan. Your security plan is as simple as locking the doors and make sure nobody gets in. But somebody setting fire to their house next door because they're an asshole is your problem straight away. And all your preps that you've carefully gathered, you might not even get to the bug out bag. You might be burnt to death in your sleep. So you need to be chapping, knocking all their doors and letting them know about fire safety. Then everybody's singing for the same sheet. Even to the point, I would suggest, as part of your security routine, have a fire watch for your row. You take turns, a couple at a time, make sure no silly bastard sets the row house on fire. That's my personal opinion.
Somebody did say that was which I thought was a really great idea, and I can't remember who said it, was to produce some like documents for your streets, a little laminated sheet of what we'll do now, etc. And if you want to be involved and look out and stuff like that, and just go and post that through each
It's a great idea,
you know, and stuff like that. And it's just kind of it puts them in the right direction. What's Mad Mike in an ice hockey mask? I used to play street hockey, so yeah, they were great. But imagine trying to swing a hockey stick. That's even worse. Can you come outside while we fight, please? Thank you. Yeah, so I had to touch on that because the next level of prepping is a lot of people think about that. And we think about
to end that, we said don't buy a crossbow, buy a fire extinguisher.
I think you're more likely to.
But no, don't.
You're right.
Buy a fire extinguisher first.
Yes.
Yeah? If you live next to a river, buy flood defenses first. Prioritize what could happen first.
Absolutely, risk-based approach.
100%. Your greatest threat is going to be other people's screw-ups, not other people rampaging through your house first. I'm not saying that would never happen, but your first threat is probably going to be fire. Then sanitation.
Yeah. Unless you're Brian, and when everyone's power goes off, you open your curtains as wide as possible with all your lights on going, ha ha, I have power. Look at me.
I've only done that twice.
Just following what Brian said with the neighbours, is the last power outage I had, the neighbours came around because they elderly neighbours, and they're lovely people. But I lent them a little single burner, you know, that you put the little fuel canister in, 15 quid. And then for Christmas, I bought them one, and they keep that in their house now. So now they won't have to come and find mine because they've got their own.
Don't come back.
But yeah, we've talked about don't come back before. Yeah. I mean, that's a good point, John. Does the next level of prepping, Brian, go on to you preparing other people, family, friends, putting
100%.
I think it was I can't remember. It was one of the American preppers that I watched that put together a box, and it was for family come and knock on the door. Here's a box,
5 or 6 of them.
Everything you need. Here's a shotgun because they're in the States, obviously. But don't come back. But we've talked about the don't come back before. It doesn't last. But is prepping for other people a stage, Brian?
100% prepping's for other people's a stage. That's why we're giving up every Sunday night doing this, because every person you can persuade to prep or exercise common sense or whatever way they want to rationalize it, or it makes sense to them, then it's one less potential threat down the line. That might be fire safety. That might be not blocking up the whole row of the sanitation for your area that you live in. Might be getting some food in, some candles. They could become an ally rather than a potential threat. So we're doing that now by talking about it as prepping other people.
Yeah.
Mike Tango Whiskey's just said, when do we grab my plate carrier?
Well, we'll talk about that offline, Mike. I mean, it's a good point to. It's a good. Thank you, Mike. It's a good thing to bring up at this point as well. We are restricted on every form of social media, what we can talk about freely. Okay.
Yes.
It's a fact. It's a fact of living in this country. It's as simple as that. All right. So sue me for saying it. but we are. However, there is still tickets left for the Scottish Prepper Meet. That's a place we can all talk in person freely. So, and it is a great place for that. And I think even the Midlands meet we went to and stuff like that, Brian, it was just us round a fire, pretty much talking about everything we can't talk about online and more, right?
And it was a good laugh. Do you know, the thing is, whenever everybody gets together, it was good crack. And at the Scottish meet as well, we did demos on power. Roger did some in first aid, packing a Bergen, and why you would do things. It's the time to ask questions, and everybody likes to do show and tell. So everybody was really approachable. And at the Midlands meet, everybody was approachable, and then everybody at night time went to their own fires and then mingled between the fires and sat and had a laugh and a chuckle and flew drones over the hippies in the same campsite who tried to hit it with a log, but that's a separate story.
So if you want to be in on the in-jokes, go and get your tickets before they all sell out and stuff like that. The price is per pitch. It's for a bank holiday weekend. It's not per person. So if you want to bring the whole family, kids are welcome. There's a park there. There's technically a petting zoo with prize-winning weird sheep things with long necks, and not llamas, just sheep with long necks. And there's all sorts going on inside. It's as I said,
They're
sheep.
called-
I
they're
saw
called
John
goats.
start typing.
They're
for
called
his ticket.
goats, Mike. Sheep with long necks are goats. They got flappy ears. They're goats.
While I've got him on screen, if you don't know, Mike Tango Whiskey has an awesome channel. Go and check it out.
Yeah.
He's one of our friends from across the pond, but it's not all sensational and stuff like that. Really practical, down-to-earth guy, practical, down-to-earth advice. And yeah, he openly talks and questions the stuff we talk about. So go and check out his channel if you get 5 minutes, and make sure you're subscribed over there. Cheers for popping in, Mike. Right, I'm just going to look, see if we've got any questions in here now. Sandbags are cheap now. They won't when the floods strike. Why floods? Well, when the rivers aren't managed, they will flood. So that's a great
They're flooding
point.
now, aren't they? So,
Yes.
yeah, I got
there's
100 sandbags.
Yeah, there's some good options as well. You can get have you seen the cardboard ones where it looks like a piece of cardboard with the Hessian sack around, and you put them flat, and when the water hits them, it expands.
Yep.
And creates like a sandbag. So
I've seen the plastic ones that they put in,
The
and the water
L-shaped
pressure
ones.
holds them down. Yeah, they're pretty cool.
Yeah. So there's all sorts of options for that, but it's a great point. Where would growing your own food come into the stages? It's stage one. Stage one. This is, listen, if you've
Definitely.
got the facility, you've got the space, you've got the garden, even if it's for raised beds, even if you're in a flat and it's a window box and it's a few herbs and some extras like that. Herbs and seasonings, by the way, are an awesome prep because you can get food fatigue if you'd eaten nothing but pasta and rice. So if you've got the option to grow food, I wouldn't even say that's stage two. That's stage one for me, as long as you've got the land, etc., to do so.
And
I'd
start
kill a
practicing now.
cactus.
You kill a cactus. Start practicing now. It took me best part of 5 years to reliably grow a decent crop.
Yeah,
That's easy for you to say.
Reliably.
Linoleum.
I'm not
Fuck
sure
it,
this
he's
is
a
water.
carpet.
Brian, if that's a gap, maybe you should start being practicing
Yes,
now. then.
Brian. We'll
Yeah.
test you.
You're right, and everybody keeps saying that you should learn to grow food, and you're totally right, and I'm not dismissing it.
You're nearly at retirement age, so you should be in the garden anyway, right? And having a snooze mid-afternoon.
Oh, I hear it when it does that. Oh, look, that one does it too.
If there's space for
Do you know-
plants, there's space for solar panels, isn't there?
There
That's
is.
the problem. You'd have to get rid of solar panels, put plants in.
That's fair.
Ryan's against the farmers. He wants fields of solar.
I'm hoping that I've got transferable skills that I could trade. So I could repair their generators, their tractors, build their solar installs for them. I've got things that I could do from when I was in the tools, but I have got zero interest in growing things, and I should know more about it. I know nothing about it.
Mhm.
Nothing. And I've got to be honest, the chances of me learning now, yeah, I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to bullshit. I've got no interest in it. It bores me to tears. Each to their own. It's not my. It's just, yeah, shite. I don't want to do it.
And Brian runs
Potatoes
out
are
of
dead
food,
easy,
and I've
Brian.
got When Brian runs out of food and I've got my Scottish land with rows of carrots and potatoes, I'll start trading him for power banks. That's what it'll be.
Potatoes are dead easy, Brian. Literally throw a potato into a bucket, fill it with compost, done.
Wait.
You're saying that. As soon as I put it in the bucket of compost, it would dry out, the bucket would spring leaks.
Hang on.
I'm
You live in
literally-
Scotland.
I'm literally like Mike,
Nothing dries out.
right? Anything electrical he touches, it goes bang, catches fire. I'm like that with plants. They just wither on the vine. I just need to walk past them and they fucking die.
I dispute this claim that everything I touch catches fire. I fully waterproof tested one of your Anchor power banks and it survived, you know.
I tell
Just
you what,
float past.
you could rear Haggai.
Haggai.
What?
You could rear Haggai.
That sounds like
The
something you get for a prostitute. I've got a
Wild
bad
haggis.
case of Haggai.
Haggises. That's the plural of haggis.
Does penicillin treat that Haggai you caught?
I wouldn't know, Brian.
Oh, you've been in the military. That's hard to believe.
Yeah.
Not everything
Mike
needs
is supposed to be
penicillin.
prepping for an interview right now. Is he?
Is it?
His live will be on later on, I think.
Oh, me?
Usually
Oh,
pop
Mike.
along.
Oh, that Mike. I was going to say.
Yes.
Oh, the other Mike.
I scheduled one. I've invited Mike Tango Whiskey to come on the Prepper podcast, so hopefully we'll get him on soon anyway. That's one thing that's been bothering me, how to introduce the idea of prepping to some of my less prepper inclined family members. I think any presents I buy them get chucked. Yeah, it's an age-old question that we would all love a magical answer to, right?
Mhm.
Hopefully something hits them like a ton of bricks and they suddenly have sudden realization and they come begging for the help kind of thing before it's too late. But, you know, that's the thing. What I've done is the first year me and Mrs. Urban Prepper were together, all her family got first aid kits, like little pocket, small trauma kits. And 2 of them have used them already. So they've seen the practicality of that kind of thing. So you can do small little practical things. I mean, don't go and turn up with 300 cans of beans and a crossbow because they will look at you like you're crazy. All right. But yeah,
I like
anyone,
to
any
use-
advice?
I like to use facts against them. I like to say to them, when was the last time that 100,000 people in the UK went 10 days without mains water? 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
When's the
There
last
you
time
go.
100,000 people went 10 days without electricity? About 4 weeks ago.
Huh?
So why wouldn't I have something put aside?
It wasn't them, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah, but exactly. That's it. It's the it'll never happen to me syndrome.
And that's why.
And then it's somebody else's job to fix it.
Yeah.
You're saying that though, Hawkins, and I'm very cynical of that, and I'll tell you why. See if there was a power grid issue for a week, or say just in your local county, and they were bleating their eyeballs out. They're waiting on Chinooks dropping power banks. With a bit of luck, it would hit them in the fucking head. But anyway, they're waiting on Chinooks parachuting power banks down. Here you go. Here's a power bank for everybody. That'll get you through. The power will be back on in a week. Within a couple of days of that power being back on, Facebook fucking marketplace would be full of cheap power banks. And the
Great,
same as
bring it
happened.
on.
It would be a fire sale. But
Literally. There would be some,
So-
but you know, even if there was only 10% of people that changed, it would change some, wouldn't it?
Well,
do you think
well,
how
I
many
mean,
people watch on a Sunday?
I mean, the pandemic changed some people, right? Whether we know the
Yeah, they died,
majority,
mate.
the majority. Sorry about Brian. The majority went straight back to just in time. But there's many preppers that I've spoke to either on the podcast, in person, at the prepper meets, stuff like that, that got them stepping it up and they carried it on after that. So events do convert some, but it's a small percentage.
They do, but many times have you said to people, and this is the way so to answer that question, say to your family members, you know, because they'll consider it a waste of money, right? Because nothing's ever going to happen. They'll buy insurance for themselves. They'll buy insurance for their home. They'll buy insurance for their car. And fundamentally hope they'll never need it. But they believe enough in the risk that they're going to have it anyway. How many car crashes have they been in their lifetime? Probably none for most of them, yet they still have all of that shit in place. How many times have they had power cuts or water cut off in the UK, pandemic, wars in Europe? It's not even in the same ballpark. The amount of things that are active problems versus potential problems that they have things in place for. That's the best way to try and explain it I can think of.
Yeah. Anything to add on that? On convincing family, friends, and people like that?
Just be persistent, isn't it? It might take quite a few years, but my old man's changed his tune a little bit. His eyes are more open than they used to be. It's just took a lot of years to get to that point.
But how do you combat Hawkins that, or we'll just come to your house if anything happens?
My door will be shut. I've told everybody that. That's a. I don't care. They can all die outside. I'll watch through the window.
Give them cards on how effectively they're dying.
I'll just put paper out through the window, paper airplanes. I told you so on the side.
No.
I think there is, Mike. I think there is societal change occurring, but it's slow. I think the government is slowly realizing that it's a good thing to happen. I work for the government, and it's
you mean after the entirety of Europe has already caught up, where we're eventually starting to go?
Yeah, I think they are generally, but there's still at the political level. There's still a great nervousness at telling people that they need to keep even a few days of food and water.
But it's always kick the can down the road with our governments, right?
Yeah,
that's
empty
the
cans,
problem, right? Yeah.
Well, you might say that. I can possibly comment.
I like my job.
My brother was talking about, we go out for breakfast every weekend and we generally talk about prep and stuff. He's of the same mindset as me. And we were talking about civil resilience and what the government's got in place. And I said, well, look, I'll tell you exactly what they've got in place. They've got a few committees that talk about stuff, but with no active shit, no stores, no tangible things in place that they'll actually do anything with. They'll have talking points on what they might do and what agencies they might involve. There'll be a lot of mights, maybes, and what we could do, but there's very little stocks, stores, resources, people. That's my opinion on it. Tell me I'm wrong. If I'm wrong, I'm happy to be corrected.
No, you're absolutely right, Brian. As I say, I work in resilience for the Scottish Government, and there's very few physical assets. There's in England they're called local resilience forums, LRFs, and in Scotland they're called LRPs, local resilient partnerships, and that's where the police and fire and ambulance and the councillors and the local hospital rep all get together. A Coast Guard person might turn up every now and then, and they talk about it. And they do have plans that, if this happens, we'll open this centre and this town hall and this, leisure centre to shelter people. They've even know where they're going to put mass casualties if there's some sort of horrible outbreak of something. They literally did that during COVID. We were identifying places that were quite cool where we could store, a lot of bodies all at once. This planning takes place. Necessarily, but in terms of physical assets, it's not there, and the military aren't coming either. The military have already said we're looking after our own shiny toys. You're on your own. So the government could ask the military for help. It'd be a token effort if it was that widespread.
Because one of the things that came up.
Sorry, big
mate.
shout out to Viking Mitch who's in. If you can't make it to the Scottish meet, I'm very, very disappointed in you. But if you go to Midlands Outdoor and Survival on Facebook, they might have a meet that's closer to you. So go and check out Midlands Outdoor and Survival. They have ones in Cornwall, South Wales, the Midlands. Not sure if they've got one down the southeast yet, but possibly in the works. So go and check that out if you can't get to the Scottish meet. Sorry, carry on.
I've lost track of what I was going to say there. We were talking about civil resilience groups, and my brother says, well, you do Facebook. Why don't you try and organise a local resilience group? Because there's no point. Because there's literally no point. I would get laughed out the street. I would get laughed out the town. There is no point. You would just be badged crazy, lunatic. Not that I'm probably not badged that already on Facebook or YouTube, but that doesn't really matter. but I don't think if I thought there was even a chance, the remotest chance, then I'd do it.
Yeah. Cheers, Mitch. Yeah, we know. I don't.
Can I ask John a question?
Of course.
I don't know if you'll be able to answer it, John. You might not be able to. What's the government's plan with high security prisons in a long grid down event?
That's the plan.
Hawkins, that is a very interesting question. A colleague of mine was at a meeting for that on when was it? Friday? Yes, 2 days ago. Yeah. Most of the prisons in the UK have quite a high degree of self-resilience. There is one Scottish prison that is completely self-sufficient for 16 days, which is actually quite good.
Yeah.
I've actually suggested that as the alternative seat of government if it happens, because 16 days is quite a long time to be self-sufficient. There are contingencies in place, is about all I can say really. That it has been thought about and the plans are mature. That's all I'm really going to say.
I can kind of answer that a little bit as
You're
well.
probably freer to speak than me, Brian.
What the old plan was when they decommissioned the war plan and all the war book that they had, in time of war, or if there was a nuclear war or time of war, they get slotted. That was basically how it went. They got shot.
Yeah.
They didn't get out their no, they weren't abandoned. The humane thing was, the decision was that they get slotted. So the prisoners weren't getting released to run wild and free. Up until the early 90s, the plan was at that time they get shot, and I don't think it will be changed greatly now.
I think we're too soft and politically correct. We'll let them all run wild and free. That's somebody said, is everyone welcome at the Scottish meet? Yes, all the meets, the Scottish meets, the Midlands ones, all of the meets are open to the public. Just go and follow the instructions either on the links that the people are putting in the Discord, or just go to shop.ukprep.co.uk and you will find the details on there. Or like I say, Midlands Outdoor and Survival on Facebook. I've had people come there that are brand new, that are just considering prepping, and were nervous about coming. So glad they did by the end of it, and learnt a lot more in a more logical method, because you can easily get sucked into videos on YouTube that tell you to go and buy beans and bullets and dig a bunker
fucking weird
and stuff.
YouTube channels about prepping, I can tell you.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, you're on one.
Wow,
you're
how
on
rude.
one.
We're right here.
Yeah. At least wait till we've left the room. Yes, there's a meet in South Wales. It's Pembrokeshire. Prepper meet is in South Wales. So, like I say, all of it is on the Midlands. I know it says Midlands, but all of it is on the Midlands Facebook for that stuff. Yes, it does, Colin. It covers a camper van as well. £35 is the pitch. We've got limited amount of camper spaces. When you go to book the tickets, there'll be a drop down. You can select it. So be quick if you're taking a camper. Otherwise, you're going to be in a field that you won't be able to drive out of. Let's get through these questions and then everyone can get to bed. Brian mentioned earlier using petrol gen to charge power banks. Was thinking of a Honda 2 kilowatt model which matches the output to load. How long does petrol last before deteriorating? Interesting question. 2 years is the line that I've heard many times before, but I've also know somebody that's tested it after 3 years and it still worked.
Depends the quality of the fuel and what's in it to start with. It could be 6 months to a couple of years, and you could put fuel stabilizers on it like Stabile, that kind of stuff. One thing to point out there: if you've got a 2 kilowatt load and you're putting a 2 kilowatt generator against it, it will run, but you're going to run it at max load, under load all the time. You don't want to match it like that. 80%. Your generator should be over-spec'd. Aye, sorry mate, on you go.
No, sorry, I was just saying 80% max for loading your genset. So that's why I went for, I think, a 3.2 kilowatt. Just to give plenty of headroom and just let your batteries charge about 2.5 kilowatts.
So he technically want 2.4 or above, right, for a 2 kilowatt power bank? Is that what we're saying?
Yeah, but the
If it's
difference between
charging
price.
input is that I don't know, because if
Yep.
you say it's 2 kilowatt power bank, is that just the output? What's the charging speed of the power bank?
And
If it's a EcoFlow one, it'll be between 1800 and 2400. But you can step that down. You can
Right,
adjust
okay.
that in the app down the way.
Yeah.
So if you've bought the 2 kilowatt model, all you want to do is go into the app. If it's a Delta 2 or a Delta 2 Max or even the 3s, go into the app and cut down the charging speed to something like 16 to 1500 watts, rather than try to take advantage of the full 2 kilowatts. You'll shorten the life of the generator. So don't do that.
I think he's saying that his Honda, it looks like it's an EU 200i. It will reduce its output to match. It will reduce its output to match the input of the load. I think that's what he's trying to say. Not that the load matches the output; it's that it will reduce.
You could read that either way, I suppose. But I would say if you're going to match the generator, overspec the generator versus the load you're going to put on it.
Mm-hmm.
If it's a power bank, you can step that down, certainly with EcoFlow ones on the apps. And what we're talking about there is called buffer charging. And like we spoke about earlier, you don't want to run a generator to keep a couple of lights on. You want to run the generator to charge the power banks up, and do that when it's quiet at night time. You get the power banks there.
Yeah. And this also lends into what Brian said earlier about dual fuel and stuff like that. Cans of propane and stuff will last a lot longer than
propane's better.
Petrol.
I've got petrol that I'm still running after 3 years, but when I fill my petrol up, I could put the good stuff in inverted commas, so the 5% ethanol, the like £1.49 a litre stuff, and then put Stabil in it before I fill it up and let it mix nicely. Fill it to the brim, leave the lids locked, and keep it in a cool place outside in the corner. And 3 years on, it's still running fine.
Mm-hmm.
And empty the carburetor. So before you switch it off to put it away, shut the fuel tap off, let it run, and empty the carburetor bowl all the way out. If you leave stale fuel in the carburetor bowl, it'll wax up and gum up all the jets, and it'll start worth of bollocks. So when you're doing your monthly, your monthly or your 3 monthly run tests, run it, let it go up to temperature. If you've got a power bank, if it's charged, use that, run it, charge it for an hour, let it work. It's built to work, and then turn it off. Before you turn it off, switch the fuel tap off and let it empty the bowl.
Yeah. Excellent. I think we've sufficiently answered that. Any more advice or anything like this, don't forget, guys, Discord is the place to be. We're all on Discord answering all questions, and there's a huge community on there that answer my questions and Brian's questions, because we're not experts on everything, and it's a great learning community to be part of. Level 2 for me was a camper van which has everything to live: power, heat, solar, etc., and bug outing, and electric car that has 77 kilowatt battery, which would keep home power bank charged for weeks. As long as you've got make sure you've got the to load adapter, so it does do that. Some of the power cars don't do that. Mine used to, but I don't have
Mine doesn't
anymore. Yours doesn't. But it's I mean, anything like that's built to live in, technically, even if it's the short term, is a great prep to have. Cheers for that, Paul. Killer says, in any prolonged SHTF, will any of us get the chance to use our preps, or will door-to-door marauder take them first? I fear the latter. Risk assessment your area. Risk assessment your area. Brian's preps and risk assessment will be vastly different from mine, vastly different from Hawkins. Hawkins has to worry about me because I might be working in that area at the time, so I'm going to turn up at his door.
A paper airplane.
I'll set it on fire and throw it back, you bastard. No, but it's genuinely it's your own risk assessment, because I was in a place before where I probably would have bugged in and I probably would have been fine. And although there's a row of houses there, I think I could have got that on side and stuff like that. Where I am now is higher risk. I don't think door-to-door marauders is something you have to worry about in the first, week, 2 weeks, stuff like that.
Yep.
Yeah, people will be nuts, but they'll be nuts around shops, around supply chains, around stuff like that. At the point they're going door to door, we're talking desperation measures there, and the chances of them tagging your door, unless you've got a big neon arrow going, I have lots of food in here. Don't advertise that. Don't do like the Channel 4 guy Prepper did on that Blackout documentary and start grilling in your back garden while all the neighbors are peeking over the fence. That's just stupid. Yeah, it's your own risk assessment. So
also you can use subterfuge if it gets to the stage where you think you might be at risk. You can empty some low quality cutlery and mugs and plates out onto the lawn with an upturned drawer to make it look like someone's already been in your house. You can have a decoy prep cupboard that's pretty obvious, so they're taking what they think is all you've got. And you're hiding the rest. Just
biohazard tape.
Yeah, biohazard tape, or need food. We're ill. Sign in the window. Just do your research, and as you say, risk assess it. You can reduce your chances of someone coming into your house to find your food, and if they do, you can limit what they take.
They're going to get through my door and they're going to see me stood there, bollock naked, with a cigarette going,
saying,
welcome.
I know your ma.
welcome, boys. I've been waiting for you. And that'll turn.
Then he says, I do stuff for beans.
What's the chance of two serial killers being in the same room?
Yeah, Killer 71, it's a personal thing. You can follow as many YouTubers and stuff like that as you were. My advice would be to find somebody who's similar to your situation. No point getting advice about somebody who lives on a homestead in the middle of the desert if you live right in the middle of a city. So follow somebody and look at what they're thinking and their path, and just do your own risk assessment for that. And if you genuinely think that door-to-door marauders is your biggest threat, then prioritize the bug out, prioritize the intel in the area. Stupid things like prioritize Brian's got a drone that he could throw up for half an hour to spin round and go and look around the local area and see a gang of people going door to door. You know what I mean? So think about your security and stuff like that.
Half an hour on every battery. And if you've got a few people like-minded in your street, now you're not going to take the drone back to you on a straight line. That would be stupid, right? But you can set it automated on a route and have it watching roundabout. Obviously not you at the centre of the circle. Be reasonably smart about it. But drones and tech is so cheap now that it's a force multiplier. You don't always have to put people outside risking their life. You could put a drone up.
Yeah, definitely. So like I say, that's all I can say is do your own personal risk assessment on that. Situational awareness is massive. Does anyone have any experience with electric motorbikes, i.e. Suron, etc.? No, I have experience with motorbikes. I used to ride quite a lot. I've looked at the electric bikes, but when I looked at them, it was quite a while ago, and the range was terrible on them. So
you still ride quite a lot, going by the way things are going for you.
I've got an electric bicycle.
Yeah, e-bikes are great.
Yeah, it's got a range of about 60 to 80 miles. Really good.
I'm waiting for Amazon to change stuff, because Amazon currently, I don't know if anyone's seen them yet, have these little e-bikes that do the deliveries now, but it looks like a van, but it's about this wide. It's an e-bike with a whole container on the back for storage, and it comes with these batteries that are huge rods, and they pull one out and slide the next one in, and they can run all day on these things. So they're awesome, and I want to get one. I don't know if they're exclusive to Amazon, if I can get one, but that would be an awesome bug out.
Yours vehicle. For $36,000.
Only. Amphia question. The UK preppers considered the most right-wing and extreme right-wing, so beloved by the current regime. Is that a question? I'm not sure if that was worded as a question.
Are we considered right-wing or extreme right-wing? I would say no.
Are they considered? No. I mean, we are considered when you speak to anyone, because I've spoke to MPs and I've spoke to government officials and stuff. I mean, John might be able to shed a bit more light on this, being, with his position. But I've been classed as a fringe group, so that's what they refer to it. We don't associate with fringe groups. So it's not like an extreme right or an extreme left thing. But they do consider, I think a lot of them do consider us extreme, which we're far from it. We're far from it. You've got a box of plasters under the sink, you're a prepper. You've got a fire extinguisher in the car, you're a prepper. Whether you take it to the level of, you know, John Rambo, or whether you take it to the level of just having the very basics, it's being prepared. John, shed any light if we're all extreme right-wing crazies?
I have access to some of this stuff, and we're nowhere even near it. You look at it's the direct action groups that are on the radar of the government, the people who padlock themselves to oil tankers coming out of refineries, the people who suspend themselves over bridges to stop the motorway, all that sort of stuff. And we don't do direct action.
Yeah,
Brian's mates.
I'm fucking sure they're not.
And they're just, well, left wing or right wing, whichever way we're going to go. If you go around far enough, they all meet. But extreme right wing, we're not even in the ballpark. You know, extreme right wing threaten to kill MPs and all that sort of stuff, and we certainly don't do that.
Great gala. Graham has just donated £5 to Mike's Naked Cigarette Fund. Although I'm currently thinking about bleach as a way to get the image out of my mind. We don't suggest using bleach for that. Just lots of therapy. CCTV, burglar alarm, or security lights for next level security preps. Yeah, definitely. But everything you've listed there is power reliant. Okay, you can get alarms that are battery operated and stuff like that. So I would also consider physical security, door bars, even a wedge, a piece of wood on an internal door is not going to stop an army or stop a load of people coming through, but it's going to buy you that time to get out of another door or a window and stuff like that. Physical security is very underrated, and psychological security as well. Okay, so there's been studies done by people somewhere, sometime. I can't cite them right now. But in like suburban areas, people who have like front gardens, the ones that have like, have you seen the little tiny chain link fences? They're about this. You could step over them, but it's a little chain fence and it's got the little spikes on it just as a decorative thing. They are less targeted from opportunist thieves than somebody without them. Even though they could step over them, it's the psychology of security. So think about the impression your premises gives out. I mean, nobody's saying put machine guns nests and Andy's lions on leashes down by your door.
Tigers, mate, tigers.
But just make it a little more uninviting. I mean, I've got the simple, like the security CCTV 24/7 stickers in the window and stuff like that. So yeah, security. Anyone want to add anything for that one?
Yeah,
on that note,
oh, go on, Hawkins.
In regards to like trying to put an alarm or something on, like, you know, if there's a grid down, you want to get yourself to sleep, and you're not going to sleep because you're a bit worried about anyone getting to the bottom of your house, something like that. I bought a load of motion activated sirens that are self-contained, battery powered, which are turned on by remote control. So I think I've got about probably 8 of them. And you can literally just place them all throughout the house downstairs, and then you just bring your remote controls upstairs, press the on button, and they all just beep as they turn on. And then if anybody was to walk in, it would give you those seconds that you would want for yourself to get out of bed and, you know, throw some clothes on. And they're only about, I don't know, 15 quid or something a pop, something like that. Yeah, they're a nice little neat standalone solution to having some sort of advance notice, should we say, like an alarm system.
Yeah, definitely.
What's the
and
word
somebody
saying?
mentioned before, you know, dogs, believe it or not, is you know, or even geese. A lot of people keep geese because they're very loud when somebody comes into the garden and stuff like that. So yeah,
Make a right mess in your lounge, though, wouldn't it?
yeah. Not as much as 5 kids, mate.
Probably worth mentioning on active defences that in time of rule of law they could land you in court and see you in shit. So if you put razor wire spikes on top of the fence and it's not signed, right, you're getting sued. The country we live in and the world we live in, if you've got active defences like that, caltrops on the grass or whatever, then yeah, you're getting it.
The threats of being naked has started the money pouring in. I should do this more often.
You really should
now, or Mike's shirt comes off.
Release the mushroom of doom. Is that what it is? The things you do for money, mate. Honestly, shocking.
What wouldn't I do for money? It's fine. I have no shame in saying that.
Well, it was written in the toilet wall, mate. Not a lot for 40 quid, that's for sure.
40. You must have got the first set of prices. That's been reduced 3 times now.
Something about Mike the Dyson. I don't know what they meant, but
John, did you have something to add on security there? Sorry.
Yeah, just as I've harped on about before, is you've got to have, and you've mentioned, you've got to have a layered defense. You've got to have various things to put off the potential intruder, just to make them go to somewhere else. I personally have window alarms. They're like tiny little, 1.5 long. That they're very visible. And that's going to put a burglar off, because they know as soon as they go through that window that you're going to be alerted to them. I've also got they take 4 AA batteries, a little sort of brown infrared sensor things. You can it just pings on your control unit in the house. It's not a camera. It's you can get solar powered ones as well. They've got a little solar panel on the top. They're about 15 quid each. And again, it just alerts you that someone's where they shouldn't be.
Yeah. It's
Or-
I got some of them. I picked some of them up after last time I spoke to Bob, and they're great, to be honest.
Yeah, good.
There was these audio ones as well. I think Hawkins was referring to and stuff that you can set up in like along a driveway.
Yeah,
and you can have them marked out in your. It's only like a bing bong thing, but you can have them marked out of where.
It.
So when that one bongs, they're this close, then they're this close, then this close, and stuff like that. There's some really good ideas with stuff like that.
Get
Brian,
signs made up saying I have food, and then stick them on your next door neighbour's windows. And when they're all getting macheted, right, and you can hear all the ruckus next door, that'll waken you up. And they'll probably be pretty tired with chopping them into bits, that you'll have a better chance when they come in. Plus, they might slip on the blood and shit. So, yeah. So, signs on the neighbours, I have free shit, food, whatever it is.
Don't take Brian. Definitely a lateral thinker. Thank you for the question. Other buckets, hopefully that helped in some way. I don't know, you might have got some sense at some point during all the rambling that we did there. What are your views on being open as a prepper compared to not telling anybody about your stores once it's out? People could come knocking. So this is a discussion that we've all had with ourselves before we've come on camera, right? I've had it with myself. I've had it with Brian, because the first ever interview I did with Brian was faceless. It was just an audio discussion and me looking around different preps and stuff, which is on my channel. You can go back and see that. And he had the same sort of dilemma. Do I go on there? There's lots of factors you've got to consider. I've had death threats. I've had email death threats and stuff like that. I've shown the emails to these guys. They've seen that, and it's. But I've also had emails saying I wouldn't have started prepping if it wasn't for you, and this, that, and the other happened, and good job we had this, because otherwise it wouldn't. And that makes it all worthwhile. My views on being open as a prepper is it needs to be more so. There's a reason I sell a load of t-shirts. It's not to make a massive profit, because they don't make a massive profit. It's technically essentially another company that produces them and sends them out and stuff like that. But it's to spread the word. It's to make it normal. It's to normalize it. We're not crazy preppers. We just need more UK resilience. We used to be a resilient nation for years upon years, and through war times and stuff like that, and the Blitz spirit and everything, and we were so resilient, and that has just gone. So I'm happy to put the risk of my face being here. I mean, let's be fair, I've got 12,000 subs. The chance of my next door neighbor knowing my YouTube channel is 1 in a million kind of thing. So it's worth the risk for me. And if somebody did know exactly where I am, chances are I'll work with them. So yeah, that's my point. Anyone, Brian, you want to add anything? You're a bit more tentative at first than I was. So
For a couple of different reasons. 3 reasons. One, professionally, that it would do me harm at my employment, so I'm relatively careful what I say.
Mm-hmm.
Second, it would potentially be viewed negatively for pastimes I enjoy and hobbies. And third was the personal risk element. Would people come to your house and bludgeon you to death for a can of beans? On the last one, people would stab you to death in the street in the UK these days for a tin of beans, never mind come to your door. So the least risk approach is to get more people to prep, more people to be resilient, and then it's one less threat. And with 2,500 subscribers, I don't think somebody's going to be running from Birmingham or central London to nick a couple of hot dogs from me, right? Shit, if they make that sort of trip, I'll give them it, right? You can have it, mate. You've worked for it. You can have it. But I'm not overly concerned with the personal risk because I don't. Yes, it's there, but I'm okay with it.
Yeah, and I'll only speak for myself in this. I've considered it and I've mitigated it. I think I'm at a position where I'm comfortable to deal with that risk when it comes to it. Not everything you see is everything we is everything we have in place. So that's all I'll say there. I'd love to know Hawkins' opinion on this, considering we've been desperate to give him a face reveal for the last year and a half. So
you've always been desperate to give him a facial.
That's why he packed up early at the last meet.
This ain't mayonnaise. What the fuck, Mike?
Straight through the hole he just burned to me tent. So yeah,
you know what the hole was for, don't you?
It was this big, so it could have been.
Oh dear. Yeah, I think I'm in the opposite mindset to you guys, Anna. I talk about prepping to people all the time, but not any of my neighbours, no one in my village. Do you know what I mean? And that's probably why I don't come and show my face, because I don't want to randomly walk into somebody as I'm having a beer in the local pub and somebody by chance recognises me. Yeah, can't bother with that.
Oh, I charge them a £5 for a Polaroid and £6 if they want it signed. It's great.
Yeah.
Never happens, by the way. I'm joking.
Does it not? Oh shit, must just be me.
It's you, yeah. It's just you.
The price of fame, you know.
Is that? Do you not find that the reward of that, Hawkins, would be better than the risk? Where, if they did approach you in the random pub, you could have somebody as an ally, you could have somebody you could convince to prep. It's a better way to initiate that conversation. Because if they recognize you, they've recognized you through this channel. And there's nobody that is just generally, I'm on YouTube to watch dancing hamsters, are going to come across a prepping channel.
That is true. I've got a mate in the village who preps.
You've not got a mate.
I'll change my mind. Yeah, well,
no, you haven't.
Yeah, an associate who preps.
And here he is.
Hello. Yeah, I don't know. Nobody needs to see this face. Let's be honest. It's not great.
No, I can.
Well, he's got a point.
Yeah, it's a favour for everyone, really. So I don't know. I like to
documentary. Ugly Mike said, "I'm just throwing it out there. I don't want to start trouble." But I don't even know who John Merrick was. I had to look him up.
That's yes. That's who it reminds me of.
You're all evil. You're all evil. Anything to add on that, John? The Secret Squirrel Society, because obviously you've got to be a bit cautious as well.
I mean, official government policy is that everyone should have some food and water in their house in case of emergency. So you could say I'm actually on here advertising government policy. That's not why I'm doing it. Mm-hmm. But he's
one of them. Hide.
He's a spy.
I just think, as Brian's already said, if people can be bothered to give up 2 hours of their time on a Sunday night because they're interested, they're thinking about it, they're not quite sure, they want to see if we're all nut jobs, they can have a couple of hours of my time, because I've got a lot of experience in general resilience and more recently prepping. So yeah, great. I'm not if someone came up to me in the street and said, I saw you on Mike's channel, I'd go, yeah, sorry about that. But yeah.
I don't actually know any of them properly.
I'll just say what I say, John. Sorry about Brian.
I have many issues.
But considering there's 66 odd million people in the UK, I think it's unlikely. But it's a risk-based approach, as is every other bit of prepping.
Yeah. Personal choice again, same as the security. Do your own personal risk assessment. You know, I figured the risk of somebody threatening to come and do harm to me and my family via email was sufficient. It was fine. It was all right. Wouldn't ECHR laws prevent prisoners from being called en masse by prisons authorities, or do those ECHR rules become defunct in time of war? What we're talking about is a time of absolute crisis. So the ECHR laws would be well out of the window, in my opinion.
There was 12 regional commissioners at that time, or would have been, and they were put in place, and they had the power of life and death. Just to give you a flavour of that time period, what the plan was, the British Army of the Rhine at the time, there was plans to get them across to West Germany for pre-positioned equipment. There was no plans to bring anybody back. So read into that what you like.
Yeah. And big welcome to Colin, who has signed up for the Scottish Prepper Meet. Looking forward to meeting you there, Colin.
Nice one.
Just got a ticket there. Are there mufflers for generators to cut down on the noise? I've heard of people building like the sheds and soundproofing the sheds with them in, and then an exhaust coming out.
Yeah.
Box it.
Yeah. Put a cherry bomb exhaust on and really amplify the sound. That would be another tactic.
And if you really want to, you could go to a scrapyard and get an old car, back box off an exhaust system.
Mm-hmm.
That muffle it down a bit.
Apart from the noise, like I've said twice already tonight, just be more aware when you're using it and for how often. You don't really be wanting it. If it's got a 12-hour runtime at half base load, you don't want to be running it for 12 hours because that's fuel that you can't replace potentially. Run it for 1 hour, charge a power bank. So think tactically about your charging, consider buffer charging, and consider, looking after your resources a bit better.
And let's be fair, if you can, and you've got the weather and it's the time of year, solar charge where you can. It's silent, that would be choice number one for them power banks. Last one, very last question here, so you'll all get to go soon. I'm sure Brian's floating in about 6 cans of Pepsi. If bugging out, would you go back for preps? Was thinking if you could keep an eye on them, cameras, etc., and you're lucky to have your place looted, you could go and collect stuff. Again, be very cautious, be very, tactical. If that position is compromised, going back to it is a risk. It's always going to be a risk. If you think that's a genuine threat, I would genuinely be looking into caches, food caches and prep caches and stuff like that. I'll be doing videos on some of them soon. I've just prepared a food cache, which is you're going to come out with me and see it being buried and stuff like that. So I'll be doing a video on that soon. I'll try not to put any road signs in and markers that you can see, so you can go and dig it up next week. But yeah, it's something I'd consider. Would I go back? Not here, because I'm urban. Brian, would you?
Not a chance in hell. You've got to think of why you left in the first place. If the situation's become that bad, you feel you have to leave, and the security and all the kit in your house behind, it's highly unlikely it's going to become less dangerous. Right? Let's be honest. And it's even less likely that there'll be anything to come back to. Right?
Yeah.
So if it's that bad you need to leave, then leave. But write off everything that's there, because chances are it's all gone.
Yeah. Hawkins, you're in your forever home and never leaving, but a swarm of zombie locusts have moved through, so you've had to bug out. Would you consider going back?
I would get the missus and kid out, and I would stay and die there. I don't think you honestly could get me out, mate. So if they did get me out, yes, I would go back because I'd be after revenge. So yes, I would.
It's a different animal. It's a different animal completely.
And if that meant I burnt the place down with them in it, I mean, that's my house. You foot right off.
You just ignite the little switch that it
Yeah.
self-destruct on your way out.
He's much nicer in real life, folks, just so you know.
Genuinely, yeah.
Yeah, he's actually all right to talk to face to face.
If I had to bug out, I'd be like, "This one's for Mike," and I'd just throw a match. And then that
Fucking Fireball XL5 there.
If I can't have it, no one can.
Okay. That's we've got two extremes here, John. Break the tension, break the deadlock between the two. What would you?
I'm with Hawkins. Pull the pin, run in.
God, I can just imagine it. There's a power cut and the brownies come to sell cookies. He runs out the back door and petrol bombs it. For fuck's sake.
I would go back to retrieve the stuff I had cleverly hidden, hoping it hadn't been found.
Yeah, I did a video about putting preps under the kickboards of the cupboards and stuff like that. But again,
everyone knows about that.
Yeah, well, no, everyone who knows this channel, which is a very few, and they're probably not the ones that are going to be marauding and looting. All right, so that's that. At the end of the day, you've got the potential of going back and getting some stuff. It would have to be a very tactical return for me. You'd have to assess
I
the
got the
situation.
skills.
Yeah,
I got the skills.
Yeah, same. And that's what you'd have to bear in mind. And is it worth that risk? But caches would be the first point for me. Find yourself caches that you can either bury, caches you can put at loved ones' houses, friends' houses, stuff like that. You got somebody who's got some land that they use, maybe you can put something there. There's all sorts of options. Personal, it's very personal, so it's always their situation. We're done for questions. I'm just going to scroll through these last. I need to change booking to a camper van. Didn't change on the drop down. Colin, I'll make that change for you as soon as you've finished here. So don't worry about it. It'll be done for you. So I'll sort that out for you. I'll pretend I'm cutting my grass when I have my generator on until I discover that it's a fly moth. I mean,
good tactic.
The point of being discreet about the energy you've got, you're out there mowing your lawn in SHTF. It's just
with a thong on and a plate carrier.
How did you know my plan?
All my plans.
It's all our plans, Hawkins. We've all got the same plan.
That's my plan. Stage 2, the van. If I need to, I could lightweight, filled up and gone. Exactly. Yeah. Question out of 100: what are the odds of something happening this year?
100. What's happening now?
Yes, something will happen.
We'll field this as our last question because it's the reason we prep, and we've got 3 minutes, so make it a quick answer. Brian, what's the chances of something let's obviously stuff's happening. We know stuff's happening all the time, and local stuff's happening all the time. Right. On a grandioso scale, what's your percentage chance?
So something happening other than a war in Europe, Trump pulling out of NATO, but not pulling out of NATO, the electricity grid taking a shit.
I understand the phrase pulling out. Sorry, I'm confused.
Tens of thousands of people with no water in the UK for weeks at a time. So other than those things that have already happened, and it's not even March yet, there's a stick-on certainty something's going to happen this year. How bad it is, I don't know. But that's only what we've had happen so far. Mm-hmm. So whatever else happens over and above that, or an escalation of this, take your pick. But something will happen, and something's happened since 2020 all the way through. It just depends what you consider to be something. That's probably the best way I can answer it.
Yeah. Hawkins, you're waiting for the giant solar flare for your birthday, right?
Yeah, mine's just will something happen this year? Yes, please.
But I mean, I know we joke about that, Hawkins, but generally,
it'd be better for me if it lasted. If nothing happened for like another 4 years, because the daughter's only 3, so a bit of a pain in the ass. If she could get a bit older before it all goes Pete Tong, that'll make my life easier. But yeah, similar to Brian, what Brian just said then, shit's going wrong all the time everywhere around the world. You could have a massive cyber attack tomorrow morning. Grid goes down, all commerce goes down, It's exciting times, isn't it?
Not exciting. John, risk assessment on a professional level. What's the percentage?
100. It's already happening. We already have extreme weather in the UK, whether it be extreme flooding or extreme temperatures. For us, extreme heat, which is not, hundreds of old people died of heat in Europe last year.
Not in Scotland, we didn't.
You all died of alcoholism.
That's a worthy goal, John.
It is. I could go over all this new conflicts. When America attacks Iran, if the Straits of Hormuz closes, petrol triples in price. So, I've got 60, 80 litres of petrol waiting, so at least I can ride that out. Will it be the end of the world as we know it? I don't think so. Will it be enough for us to have to, use our preps? Absolutely. Not everyone.
Yeah. My answer is always the same for this one, Outback Red. It's 50-50. It's always 50-50. Whether somebody presses the button or doesn't press the button, whether we have an internal conflict or don't, whether this stupid ass government stays in power for the full term or doesn't, it's always a 50-50 thing. And even if it was a 10% chance or a 20% chance, the percentage chance of a Carrington event, like Hawkins says, is a higher percentage than you would believe. There's more chance of that than you being burgled this week. All right, so it's a scary thought if you actually do the googling and look at the stats on it. But even a 10% chance warrants, even a 1% chance warrants prepping for me. Because at the end of the day, do you want to be the one sat there while you're watching your family starve? Is the question. And is a 1% chance worth a risk when it comes to your family's life? Is the question. So any percent chance is worth prepping for, because better to have it and not need it than need it and not have it. All right. Which I think is a good point to end on. So thank you, everyone, for joining us. What's Brian?
You say
Brian?
that. You say that, but how many kids have you got, Mike? And what's your views on condoms?
Listen.
No, seriously, that was a question.
I'm raising my own army and own mag. It's fine. No, genuinely, just consider that. Just consider that. Look around you, look at your loved ones, and consider being in a position where you cannot provide for them. And that should be all the inspiration you ever need to prepare. Even if that's a week's worth of food and a week's worth of water and nothing more, it's still a good reason to do it. Brian, any final thoughts on level 2 prepping and gadgets and everything we've talked about tonight, and your goodbyes, please?
Start simple. Every box of matches, every candle matters. Don't bankrupt yourself to do it, and build up your things slowly, including skills. And it should be fun.
Yeah.
And thanks for coming along. That's basically it.
Excellent. Hawkins?
Don't forget that 17 is 16, 16 is 15, 15 is 14, all the way down to 3 is 2, 2 is 1, 1 is none. So redundancy is key.
That's why Brian's got 17 power banks. Well said.
Not yet.
Yet. John?
Just remember, the longer something doesn't happen, the higher the probability that it will. Thanks for the fish.
Thanks for the fish. Cool. All left to say is thank you to our awesome moderators, which there is plenty of on both channels now. We've got Mel, Evil, John. I'll probably miss a lot of people. Telda Boy, who is one of my original mods, and Rift, and everyone else who's helped moderate. Thank you. You're all Purple as well, who is in there, who's one of the new moderators as well. And of course, our chief mod, Miss Worm. If you want a break from prepping and a break from reality, go and check out her channel where she'll read you some stories stories and her lovely voice, and you can sit there and listen to them, and it's a great break and something
And the
different
book.
from prepping. And the book, yes, of course. She's a published author, and you know, we've all got it, we've all read it, we all think it's wonderful. We don't want to tell you about it because we don't want to give you any spoilers. So go and check that out. She's got her book on Amazon, which you can get digitally for your Kindle, or you can get a hard copy as well, which I recommend.
You're lying your ass off, boy.
Then it's in the library. I never lie, Brian. Don't you talk about. So yeah, and from me, thank you for joining us. Keep spreading the word of prepping. That's what this is all about. All my links are below all my videos. I do appreciate every single donation support thing I get, but the one thing I do want you to do more than any of that is talk about prepping. Spread the word, share Brian's videos, share my videos, and just, yeah, get the word out there. Let's normalize it. All right. So there you go. And there's Brian's Miss Worm's stunning review of our podcast tonight. There we go.
Not
Thank
me.
you.
I didn't say anything. She's going to talk about you two.
There you go, Miss Worm's Ghost Stories. Go and check out Miss Worm's channel. Thank you very much, and we'll see you all in another video or another live very, very soon. Goodbye.
Players, guys.
In the glow of embers dance, we've prepared for every chance, living simple, living true, with the dream we all pursue. Prepared for every chance, living simple, living true, with the dream we all pursue.
I'm Brian! I'm Brian! I'm Brian! I'm Brian! I'm Brian, and so's my wife! Right, take him away and release him.
No, I'm only joking. I'm not really Brian.